So we just got here at Petiti. They were going off earlier. There's parrots above me. Definitely in the rainforest. So this is the first full day. It is the 25th of October. It's Tuesday. And got settled in yesterday, went on a hike. After a 4.5, 5 hour bus ride from Pisac, the town of Pisac, to kind of like where the trail started to make our way down here. We passed quite a few ruins, but to start off with the adventure, I'll try to go in order here. The bus ride was pretty good. They cautioned us strongly to refrain from eating, and that it's going to before the bus ride, and that it was going to possibly cause some sickness due to the altitude changes and the winding roads. And that was kind of the case. I was like in the middle of the bus, in the middle seat. There aren't a lot of great pictures that I took while in the bus, but the half point where we got to get out and take a bathroom break on the side of the road and kind of stretch out a little bit, that was really nice. And I got a couple of good pictures there. And really, most of the group did really well. I think only one person purged or got sick. I know that one of the participants next to me was fighting it, and she did really good. Yeah, that was awesome. You know, we were making sure that we had plenty of coca that we were chewing, and then using the yata, which is like the, I guess the charcoal balls. They kind of activate and make better use of the coca leaves to keep you from having an upset stomach. So everybody was chewing on those and making sure we were doing really well. Actually, my mouth is pretty sore actually from chewing all the coca and yata yesterday. One of the rites of passage besides the trail was we were still on the bus about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes before our destination point, before we started hiking, and we noticed there was a landslide as we came around the bend from across the valley. We came around the bend, came by, and there were a bunch of locals like moving rocks and stuff. We're like, oh, we're gonna my first thought was, okay, we're hiking from here. And so everybody kind of discussed back and forth, because they had some local, like I said, the locals are working on it. Our driver, they're talking back and forth, trying to figure out what to do. To try to turn around at that point, since you're on a mountain cliff and just a road, and then it goes down more, was really not an option, and the reverse would have been pretty treacherous. So we came up with the conclusion that we were all going to kind of help out. We all got out and kind of helped move all the rocks out of the way and made a space that was wide enough for the bus to pass through. Or really, it's like a Sprinter van, but it's their version of a bus. And I could not see our version of a bus, the American version of a bus, you know, like the big giant things with space underneath. They would not have made it through what we were driving through, up and down and winding around. Beautiful scenery, and we made it to the spot. We got out, got our packs off the roof of the van or the bus, and got everything squared away, at which point I realized that I did not have my rain fly. I had left that apparently in my locker at Aguas Calientes when I was staying at the hostel there. I was visiting Machu Picchu. And of course, it started to rain. So luckily most of my stuff is in dry sacks, so a lot of my stuff was not damaged or like destroyed or got soaked in any way. A couple things got soaked, but hey, it's a beautiful day today and everything's drying out. Got my little campsite set up and things are going really well. The hike itself was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. Besides like the rocks and kind of being really aware of your foot placement. But as far as it being like really swampy, muddy, crazy up and down, it really wasn't. It wasn't as difficult as the emails and the way they described it in the introductory ceremony. It wasn't nearly as bad as they described it. I could see why. That's for good reason, to kind of attract certain people and make sure that, you know, that the kind of individual is willing to go through an adventurous and difficult experience, because this is not going to be an easy course. We're going to be going through a lot of physical, psychological, and spiritual kind of hardships, which will be worth it later on, but at times it's going to be very difficult, and you have to have a strong, resilient, or at least an open mind, at the very least, I feel like, to get through the course, let alone get the most out of it. Some lightning strikes, and then at the very end, when you're going up to Patiti, the Institute, it's almost straight up, and immediate flashbacks of the Smoky Mountain National Park section of the Appalachian Trail that I did in May. Just like straight up, you just keep going, breathing, and just one foot in front of the other. I'm glad I had the extra trash bag. Didn't end up using it for my pack. I ended up sharing it with somebody to keep their tent dry, because it was kind of coming out of its bag and it was exposed, and so I gave that out, and then eventually gave out my hiking poles to those that I felt needed it, especially towards the end, and of course, just willing to share. I was doing just fine, so trying to establish and create that community sense, since we are going to be spending 30 days together, and just in general, just having that kind, compassionate exchange with not just humans, but every life. The food last night for dinner was fantastic. That was something I was concerned about coming over here, was, am I going to have enough, is there going to be enough food to kind of satiate me, because I know I have quite the appetite, especially for high fat and protein. I'm not a big fan of carbs and starches, but they had some of my favorite, more vegetarian protein sources. Quinoa, which is one of my favorites, and they have some spices. I know we're kind of limited due to the ceremonies we're going to partake in a couple of days. But yeah, I was very, very pleasantly surprised when we were able to go up and get seconds and even thirds. And then also with breakfast this morning. And I'm about to go up there for the introductory, kind of introduce us to the property and kind of the rundown and what's going to happen. But just hanging out in the room which we all meet in. It's where the ceremonies will be held. I imagine where we'll be doing our yoga classes in the morning, where we'll be learning a lot as far as indoors go. It's a nice area. I'll try to get a picture of it, both outside and inside. And it is just a really, really cool, colorful, positive vibing place. And I'm just learning a lot just from the people that are here and what they've experienced and how much, I'll be able to learn. And I feel like it goes in a circle, in that wheel, that circular form, where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's times they're talking, I'm like, God, I have so much to learn. And then it comes back around where it's like, they're also expressing how much they have to learn. And so it's a very cool exchange. I'm loving it so far. I'll keep you guys updated. But from the Paititi Institute in Peru, I will see you guys later from the base camp here.